It's 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, and you're staring at your phone, waiting. He said he'd text after his work trip, but it's been 3 days of radio silence. Yet somehow, you're still here, refreshing Instagram, checking if he's watched your story, analyzing the last message thread like it holds the secrets of the universe. Why do some relationships feel less like partnership and more like an epic quest, where you're constantly proving your worth, chasing breadcrumbs of affection, and wondering if you'll ever reach the promised land of being chosen? At Love Threads, we don't just talk about relationships, we deconstruct them. We blend authentic, grounded insights with robust, evidence-based psychology, giving you the real intelligence on why we connect, why we sometimes misstep, and how to truly thrive when love feels like a constantly shifting landscape. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology behind the hero lover, that person who turns love into an epic adventure story where you're always fighting for the happy ending. We'll uncover why your nervous system gets addicted to this pattern and how to recognize when you're stuck in a quest that was never meant to be won. Let's start with Sarah, 32, marketing manager, whose dating life reads like adventure novels she never asked to star in. There was Marcus, the one who would disappear for weeks, then return with grand gestures, surprise flowers at her office, late-night philosophical texts about their cosmic connection, weekend getaways that felt like scenes from a romance movie. But between those highs, silence, canceled plans, the feeling that she was constantly auditioning for the role of girlfriend in his life. Then came Alex, the emotionally unavailable one who spoke in riddles about his feelings. "I'm not ready for anything serious, but you're different," he'd say. "I've never felt this way before, but I need space to figure things out." Every conversation felt like solving a puzzle, every date like earning points towards some invisible relationship level up. And here's the thing that modern dating culture doesn't prepare us for. These aren't just complicated guys. These are hero lovers, people whose attachment style and life patterns create relationships that feel like epic quests, complete with trials, tribulations, and the constant promise that if you just prove yourself worthy enough, you'll reach the castle. Esther Perel talks about how modern love has become a site of both intimacy and performance. We're not just seeking connection, we're seeking validation that we're the main character worthy of someone else's story. But what if the real pattern is deeper than attachment styles? What if some people unconsciously structure relationships like hero's journey narratives where love must be earned through trials, where the other person becomes both the prize and the gatekeeper, where your worth is measured by how much you're willing to sacrifice for the quest? Have you ever found yourself constantly trying to win someone's love, even when they claim to already care about you? Tell me in the comments. The cruel irony, the harder you quest, the farther the finish line moves. Because hero lovers aren't actually looking for you to win. They're unconsciously attached to the story itself, the pursuit, the drama, the feeling of being simultaneously needed and free. Boundaries experts talk about how some people are addicted to earning love rather than receiving it freely. Dating psychologists point out that we often mistake difficulty for depth, thinking that if we have to fight for someone's attention, it must mean the connection is more meaningful. But here's what's really happening in your brain and nervous system when you encounter a hero lover. You're not just falling in love with a person, you're falling in love with a story. A story where you're the protagonist who will finally be the one to break through their walls, heal their wounds, and prove that love conquers all. Think about the last time you were completely hooked on a Netflix series. You binged episodes because you had to know what happened next. The writers created just enough tension, just enough unanswered questions, just enough hope mixed with frustration to keep you completely engaged. Hero lovers do this unconsciously in relationships. They create emotional cliffhangers. This is what relationship experts call the addiction to earning, when we become more attached to the process of winning someone over than to the actual person or relationship. It's like being addicted to the slot machine rather than wanting to actually win money. Psychological deep dive. Now, let's dig into the science behind why hero-lover dynamics are so intoxicating to our nervous systems. Neuroscience research shows that romantic love activates the brain's reward system in the exact same way as cocaine. But here's the twist. Intermittent reinforcement, getting rewards unpredictably, creates even stronger neural pathways than consistent rewards. When someone gives you attention sporadically, when they're hot and cold, when they make you feel special one day and forgotten the next, your brain releases dopamine not just when good things happen, but in anticipation of them happening. You become addicted to the uncertainty itself. Research on bids for connection helps explain why hero-lover relationships feel so consuming. In healthy relationships, partners make regular small bids for each other's attention and respond consistently. But hero lovers make dramatic, infrequent bids. The grand gesture, the middle-of-the-night philosophical text, the weekend that feels like a movie, followed by periods of emotional absence. Your nervous system interprets this pattern as, this person is special and rare. Their attention is valuable because it's scarce. I need to work harder to earn it consistently. Emotionally focused therapy research talks about protest behaviors in attachment. When we sense disconnection from someone we're bonded to, we unconsciously escalate our efforts to reconnect. We text more, we analyze every interaction, we become hyper-vigilant about signs of rejection or acceptance. With hero lovers, you're constantly in protest behavior mode because the connection is always uncertain. But here's where it gets really interesting. People with anxious attachment styles are actually drawn to avoidant partners not despite their unavailability, but because of it. The uncertainty feels familiar. It mirrors early relationships where love had to be earned, where attention was conditional, where you learned that caring meant pursuing. Modern research on breakup brain scans reveals something fascinating. When we're rejected or ignored by someone we're attached to, the brain regions that light up are the same ones that activate during physical pain. Hero-lover dynamics keep you in a constant state of low-level emotional injury, which your nervous system interprets as proof that this relationship matters deeply. There's also the element of what psychologists call the sunk cost fallacy. The more energy you invest in trying to win someone over, the harder it becomes to walk away. You think, I've already put 6 months into figuring out how to love this person. I can't give up now. But what if the quest was never actually about reaching a destination? What if the quest is the relationship for a hero lover? Let me share Emma's story. She spent 2 years in what she called a situationship with Daniel. He was everything she thought she wanted, intelligent, creative, passionate about his work. But loving him felt like being handed a Rubik's Cube every day. Some days he'd send her poems he wrote about her. Other days he'd cancel plans because he needed space to process his feelings. Every conversation about their relationship status ended with him saying some version of, "You're incredible, but I'm working through some things." Emma found herself constantly researching attachment styles, reading articles about emotional unavailability, trying to crack the code of how to love him properly. She was so focused on becoming the right person for him that she never stopped to ask if he was the right person for her. This is what the Modern Love column in the New York Times captures so well in their stories. Love has become a puzzle to solve, rather than a feeling to experience. We're so focused on optimizing relationships that we forget to notice whether we actually feel peaceful and joyful in them. Now, let's zoom out and look at the deeper mythological patterns at play. The hero's journey isn't just about epic adventures. It's about the fundamental human need to prove our worth through trials and transformation. Hero lovers unconsciously cast relationships in this mythic structure, where love becomes the treasure that must be won through tests and challenges. Think about every romantic movie you've ever loved. The couple doesn't just meet and live happily ever after. There are obstacles, misunderstandings, dramatic gestures, moments where all seems lost before the final reconciliation. We're culturally programmed to believe that real love requires struggle, that ease somehow means it's not deep enough. But here's what's fascinating about the psychological concept of sacred contracts. Some people enter our lives not to be life partners, but to reveal hidden parts of ourselves. The hero lover might be showing up to teach you about your own patterns, your need for external validation, your fear of abandonment, your belief that love must be earned rather than freely given. In Jungian psychology, there's the concept of the shadow lover, the person who embodies everything we think we want in a partner while simultaneously triggering our deepest insecurities. Hero lovers are often shadow lovers. They're charming, intelligent, creative, passionate, all the qualities you admire. But they're also emotionally elusive, inconsistent, and unavailable in the exact ways that activate your attachment wounds. The modern twist on this ancient pattern is how social media amplifies the hero-lover dynamic. When someone watches your Instagram stories but doesn't text you back, when they like your posts from 6 months ago at 2 a.m., when they send you TikToks but can't commit to dinner plans, these are the digital breadcrumbs that keep the quest alive. Pop culture has given us language for these patterns: the almost relationship, the one who got away, the twin flame connection, or connections that never quite materialized into actual relationships. There's something about the unfinished story that haunts us more than the completed one. Let's look at the archetypal patterns that show up repeatedly. The wounded healer. This hero lover draws you in with their vulnerability. They share their trauma, their struggles, their complicated relationship with love. You become invested in being the person who finally helps them heal. But healing becomes the relationship, and you never transition into actually being loved consistently. The brilliant, tortured artist. Creative, passionate, deep, but their art, or career, or personal growth always comes first. You're honored to be chosen by someone so special, but you're constantly competing with their higher calling. The relationship exists in the gaps between their real priorities. The almost ready. They conceive forever with you. They just need 6 more months, or to finish this work project, or to work through some personal issues first. There's always a logical reason why not yet, which makes you feel reasonable for waiting and hoping. The catalyst. This person shows up like lightning in your life. Intense connection, philosophical conversations until 3 a.m., a feeling of finally someone who gets me. But they disappear as quickly as they appeared, leaving you wondering if you imagined the whole thing. Each of these archetypes offers something genuinely valuable: depth, creativity, emotional intelligence, intensity. But they package it in a way that makes love conditional on your patience, understanding, and ability to accept inconsistency. What archetype have you encountered most in your romantic life? Comment below and let's start connecting these patterns.
Here's the truth that will shift everything. You are not failing at loving the hero lover correctly. The hero lover is not a puzzle to be solved. They are a person with their own patterns, wounds, and unconscious relationship strategies that have nothing to do with your worthiness of love. The quest narrative feels meaningful because it activates your deepest need for purpose and significance. But what if the real quest isn't winning their love? It's learning to recognize your own worth without external validation. Let's rewrite the story step by step. Step 1. Acknowledge the neurochemical reality. Your brain is literally addicted to the intermittent reinforcement this person provides. This isn't weakness, it's normal human neurology responding to an abnormal pattern. The first step is recognizing that what feels like deep love might actually be your nervous system responding to uncertainty and inconsistency. Start paying attention to your body.
Do you feel calm and peaceful when you think about this person? Or do you feel activated, anxious, and hypervigilant? Love might involve butterflies, but it shouldn't involve chronic stress. Step 2. Narrative reframe. Instead of, they're emotionally unavailable, but I can help them heal, try, they're showing me exactly who they are right now, and I deserve someone who is available and consistent. Instead of, this connection is so deep it's worth waiting for, try, depth includes reliability, respect, and emotional safety, not just intense conversations. Instead of, I must not be doing something right if they won't commit, try, their inability to commit reflects their relationship with vulnerability, not my value as a partner. Step 4. Non-violent self-talk. When you catch yourself analyzing their behavior or planning how to win them over, pause. Instead of, I'm pathetic for still thinking about them, try, my nervous system is seeking safety and connection. This is human and understandable. When you feel tempted to reach out after silence, instead of judging the impulse, acknowledge it. Part of me wants reassurance right now. What would feel nurturing and self-respectful instead of pursuing? Step 5. Reconnect with your own story. Hero lovers make you forget that you are the main character of your own life, not a supporting character in theirs. Start writing or talking about your days without referencing them. What are you creating, learning, enjoying that has nothing to do with romantic relationships? Begin making small daily bids for connection with yourself. The same energy you've been putting into deciphering their mixed signals can go toward your own interests, friendships, and dreams. Step 6. Practice receiving available love. This might be the hardest step. Start noticing and appreciating people who are actually available and consistent. The friend who always texts back within a reasonable time, the family member who checks in regularly, the coworker who follows through on what they say they'll do. Your nervous system might find these people boring at first because they're not triggering your quest mode, but practice receiving their care without having to earn it. This retrains your system to recognize what healthy connection actually looks like. Let me share what happened with Emma from earlier. After 2 years of trying to crack Daniel's code, she started therapy and began recognizing her patterns. She realized that in every relationship that felt easy, she had gotten bored and looked for reasons to leave. She was addicted to earning love, not receiving it. She started dating David, who was kind, consistent, and genuinely interested in building something together. For the first 3 months, she kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, for the tests and trials to begin. But David just kept showing up. He called when he said he would. He made plans and followed through. When she shared vulnerable things, he responded with care, not distance. It took Emma 6 months to stop expecting David to become a hero lover and start appreciating what was actually in front of her. A person who was choosing her every day, not making her audition for the role. Have you ever walked away from something that felt too easy? Share your experience in the comments. Here's what I want you to understand. Every hero lover you've encountered has been a teacher, but not in the way you thought. They weren't testing your capacity to love unconditionally. They were revealing your relationship with your own worth. The quest was never about winning them. It was about discovering that you don't need to be won. You are not a prize to be earned through trials and tribulations. You are not a supporting character in someone else's epic adventure story. You are a full human being, worthy of love, that shows up consistently, openly, and without conditions. The hero lover archetype will keep appearing in your life until you learn to recognize your own value without external validation. But once you do, something magical happens. You start attracting people who already know your worth, who don't need you to prove it, who are ready to build something together instead of making you earn access to their heart. Your nervous system learned to crave the quest because somewhere along the way, you learned that love was conditional. But you can teach it something new, that the most radical thing you can do is refuse to audition for love and instead wait for someone who already knows you're worth choosing. The real treasure was never at the end of someone else's maze. It was always the strength and self-knowledge you developed along the way, and your growing ability to recognize when someone is offering you a genuine partnership instead of a puzzle to solve. What's one pattern you recognize in your own hero-lover experiences that you're ready to shift? Comment below. Your insight might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who might need this reminder that love doesn't have to be a quest. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is stop trying to win and start learning to simply be chosen by someone who's actually available to choose us. If this stirred something in you, subscribe to Love Threads. We're not here to fix you. We're here to remember who you are.